What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Beyond Meat, I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Beyond Meat is down 1.68%, 113 the low, 124 the high, and 62 million shares being traded. So very low volume being done today. When it comes down to the broader market, it is just a very difficult day. A lot of fears being rolled over from the last couple of trading days, government shutdown, fears over consumers, and just multiples. And even potentially as well, just a lot of companies outright just missing on earnings. So Beyond Meat does have their earnings coming out next week, so that could be a pretty big catalyst potentially, but I feel like people are very hesitant right now. Today we did also have Michigan consumer sentiment, came in at 50.3, forecast of 53. So that did come in better than anticipated, and we actually did get some unofficial data, and that was this. So unofficial job reports. It does signal that it was pretty much stagnant over the last couple of months. So it does show roughly about 9,000 drop in October to 159,000. So that's kind of the downside of the government shutdown, is we haven't had a lot of key labor data, because this, when it did come out, you saw a nice spike in the broader market, including Beyond Meat. So people are kind of yearning for, I guess, those types of kind of data points. Aside from that, there really hasn't been that much in news associated to Beyond Meat. So no news, no SEC filings, no speculative topics have even been brought up. So it has been largely just piggybacking off of kind of the broader market. And one thing I've mentioned in previous videos, I do feel Beyond Meat is a very big momentum play, and any momentum stock out there, if you don't get a lot of capital kind of getting in, you are opening yourself up for a lot of manipulation. So today, with us having only about 62.4 million shares being traded, shorts are able to really dictate what they want and everything else. So even at the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing net 5.35 million. As I've mentioned in the past, they trade back and forth with each other. So lately they've been making up for a solid about 50 to even 55% of the daily volume. So net, they are increasing 5.35 million, 28.87% at the free floats being shorted, works out to be 103.14 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average sitting at 4.21. And I think just generally based on all of this and shorts increasing, you're having a lot of big kind of accounts on social media really taking this and kind of making the narrative that it is a squeeze play. So let me know your kind of viewpoint on Beyond Meat, and if you think it is still a squeeze play, or like what's your general thoughts. In my opinion, I think it's going to largely come down to their earnings, and if they give good future guidance over and above possibly even beating their key metrics, which most likely they probably won't, but if they do surprise the broader market, then you could see a very nice kind of price appreciation, and then could possibly even get on a lot more people's radars, because I think lately it did get its hype. Now people kind of moved on to other kind of more speculative stocks. Aside from that, looking at the options, 2.2 million in calls, 3.3 in puts, and 50% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $1.50 to $2 range. That is by next week, and so that does include their earnings, which is on the 11th. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of looks like $1. So it's going to be a very interesting one. On the secondary market, we see not that much in transactions, which does match with the lower volume. One buy right here for 117,000. Everything else is a sell. So 509, 142, 134, 130, and then 102. These are all the transactions occurring on the Darkpool. Let me just correct this date right here. So these are all the transactions for today, largest being 409. So given how much shorts are doing, it is fair to assume that all of this is linked to shorts. So not necessarily the best, but as I mentioned, they are making up for a good chunk of the daily volume. So this is where they typically hide a lot of their transactions. With it right now at 117, it is trading between this S2 and this S3. So definitely, in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it has been beaten down extensively. So 104 is going to be a strong support. 135 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Quickly popping over to the good old chart. It's not really looking that good. The only positive is the fact that it did break off the overbought status to somewhat kind of neutral, if not oversold. So that's a good thing. but on the actual chart, it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. There's really not that much in articles even talking about Beyond Meat. And so for a momentum stock, you need that engagement. You need that like show me type of stuff that articles or big influencers will bring. So I think it's like just missing that. And I think them pushing back their earnings was definitely, to me, a red flag. I know that might be unpopular opinion, but I think the price action kind of shows that as well. But nonetheless, comparing for the market position today versus yesterday, not much change in all fairness. So a little bit more willing buyers today, but I think based on where they're oriented, they're more just for swing trading and day trading. But all in all, as I've mentioned, even looking right here, shorts are starting to make up for a little bit more volume on a percentage basis than what it was, at least. So let me know your viewpoint. Do you think that Beyond Meat is a squeeze play, or do you think that it's just kind of fizzling out? What's your kind of general thoughts on that? If in all fairness, if, and again, unpopular opinion, if they do actually miss on their earnings, I think that's going to be like lights out. Because right now a lot of people are still very hesitant about their operational side of the business, and myself included. Even when it was running up, I was saying, hey, you know what, this is a very big momentum rally slash squeeze kind of dedicated rally. None of this is operational. So I think a lot of people got stuck holding it. Now they're kind of looking at the operations and hoping that their earnings is going to be positive. So we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. There really hasn't been that much in analyst ratings. So still, even the most bullish ones, looks like $4 is the highest one. That was done by BMO back in August. So they lowered their rating from 5 to 4, and that seems to be the highest. Lowest is 80 cents. That was done by TD Cowen, and that was on October the 13th. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But let me know your thoughts on Beyond Meat. Are you buying the dip? Are you selling? What's your general thoughts on Beyond Meat? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. So I even did post this yesterday. I go over some expectations, some day trades. And so even here, I did say, I expect we might see a red dip early and then a market recovery. That is exactly what is happening. Not necessarily, I guess, with Beyond Meat, but most stocks are kind of having that initial dip, and then it is kind of moving higher, exactly how I mentioned that. So definitely worthwhile to pop over to the Patreon. Again, I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, so worthwhile to kind of pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.